Hi, this is Lorraine, and I'm doing another video. If you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, so there were a lot of messages this week, and I feel like most people who are connected, who work towards their connection with the divine, can feel massive changes happening right now. And so I guess a lot of the stuff that came in is related to that. This window, if you will, between these eclipses is pretty intense energy. And all I can do is I just need to start at the beginning of the week. And so I was at work, and I saw a screensaver that looked like, I guess, a shell. It was shaped in that Fibonacci spiral type swirl, and so I just drew it, and you probably can't see it. Yeah, right. Oh, it's wrong side here. And so it just was, there's many screensavers that move across the screen, but this was the one that caught my eye. And what I wrote was the eye of the storm, creation, protection. And then, and this is all information that came to me as I was looking at it. The eye of Horus, wisdom, third eye, restoration, strength, hope. Then I started looking up the symbolism for the eye of Horus. And good luck, fortune. It also is represented by the Cheetah and the Falcon, which, if you want to look up what those totems are, you're welcome to do that, or maybe I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in reading about that. And so the third eye, wisdom, the third eye is the seat of intuition and clairvoyance. And so the information, the link to the website where I got some of this information, I'll put also in the description. And so the eye of Horus has a number of symbolisms, or meanings that we can associate with it. And one of them was, which I didn't know. I knew about wisdom, knowledge, but one is don't give up, be persistent, success is inevitable. There is healing for you. Spiritual foresight and premonition. The past is over, and there's a new future. You are made for victory. And then there's a reference to laurels. Laurels are a symbol of victory, and my name is Lorraine, which is a derivative of laurel. You are protected from evil forces, and it's a sign of good luck. But when I was looking for more information about it, there's another eye, and I'm like, what's it? This looks, the eye of Ra, it looks exactly like the eye of Horus. So what's the difference? Well, the right eye, the eye of Ra is the right eye, the eye of Horus is the left eye. So I'm like, I did not come across, as many times as I've looked up the eye of Horus, I've never had the eye of Ra show up. And I didn't even know there was such a thing. I knew about Ra, but I didn't know there was an Eye of Ra. So one more thing I'll say about the Eye of Horus is it's linked to physical integrity and health and protection. Okay, so as far as the Eye of Ra, it's represented by the right eye, and it represents the power of the gods. And this is the eye that sees everything. It repels negative energy and restores harmony. Ra's eye obtains information. He administers his justice with the information collected by his eye. And so I have said in many of my past videos that I bear witness to what is happening on this earth, and it is imperative that I bear witness from a balanced place. Clear-centered, balanced energy is very important, and setting up protective fields in order to protect the integrity of that clear-centered and balanced energy is also very important. And so as I witness what is occurring on this world, that information is collected by this source energy, right? To the galactic energies that are observing and aiding in the transition of Mother Earth, to anybody who taps into that source energy, and from that source energy can access the information from my experiences. Okay. So again, I talk about maintaining clear-centered and balanced energy, connecting to the higher self, and through the higher self, connecting to the source of all creation, and through that connection, connecting to all other things. So all other beings in the universe who are making those connections are connecting to the information that I am conveying to the source, okay? The source of all things, the source of creation. And so I think that was very important. So basically that vision, or that seeing that screensaver, kind of reiterated the importance and the significance of the Eye of Horus as well as the Eye of Ra. Okay. And I guess for me is the messages were persistence, success, physical integrity, health, protection, and reaffirming my intuitive knowing that the importance of my disciplines in maintaining clear-centered and balanced energy and bearing witness. And so that was the 25th of October, and so then the next message that comes in, excuse me a minute, the next message that comes in came in on October 28th. And there is an incredible amount of manipulation happening on this world, and I don't normally talk about, I try not to talk too much about it. I try to focus mostly on transcendence, change, and what it takes for us to create change and transcend, and what we're doing and where we are in that transition. But this message came up because I feel like the message came up because it's important to maintain perspective. There is a culture of this coveting of this ET knowledge and wisdom, and connecting with them, engaging them, having them come to our planet. And before that is possible, we need to maintain clear-centered and balanced energy and have a clear connection to the divine to be able to discern. Because this planet is unique. There's no other planets like it in the universe, and its role is unique. So we can't just have people willy-nilly coming to this world. it needs to maintain its integrity as a paladin of love and light in the universe. It needs to maintain its integrity of bearing the beings, humanity, who embody the depth and breadth of emotion, which represent the depth and breadth of love, which represent the divine source energy, which its homeostatic state is love. And so that is where we must always live from on this world. And so people are so coveting these interactions with beings from other worlds that they're calling in energy they should not be calling in. Okay? And it's important that people understand that we cannot, as a collective, call in energy that should not be here. So the message, and so I guess it goes back to when we initially reached out, humans, not knowing what we were doing, reached out to the universe and then brought back these negative energies, okay? And so the message that came in on the 28th was about this collective psychosis that has been brought up by, I guess, on Cosmic Disclosure. I think it was specifically Randy Kramer brought it up, and then also Tim, the guy that talks about the Zeta Reticuli all the time. And so this message has come in a lot, and I don't normally talk about it because I don't want to keep dwelling on it, but it came in really strong this week as something that needed to be discussed. And so collective psychosis, and these are notes, I didn't really write out paragraphs, but that's a term that comes from their current condition, okay? Excuse me. Anyone who knows or has used this term, collective psychosis, identifies themselves as someone who has or is working in tandem with the Zeta Reticuli. So the fact that you would know this term means, it, to me, the message that comes in is it's an indication that they work closely, because they wouldn't know this term without it being planted in their consciousness. And it came from somewhere, and that's where it came from. This condition is a result of their decision to the Zeta Reticuli to destroy their physical form and house their consciousness within an external storage system or separate from divinity. So they have their consciousness set it up in some type of storage system. And I'm sure it's not, I always think of it as like an external hard drive or something like that, but it's probably not specifically that. It's probably some quantum something. But they have removed their consciousness from their physical form, placed it in the storage system, and destroyed their bodies. The physical forms that people see, if they have engaged Zeta Reticuli, are not their original physical forms. They have been created as physical bodies to move the consciousness into, so that they can walk around and engage us on this plane of existence, right? And so the next note I have is the physical form is sacred, as it is where the soul resides on this material plane. So when we're born into this world, I remember Michio Kaku talking about the force of energy that it takes to create life is greater than anything we could fathom, like even greater than the force of a nuclear bomb. He's like, it is unfathomable, the force of energy that it takes to create life. And but that is that source energy comes in and creates life, okay? And the energy that is being produced or is needed is what is utilized to fuse or entangle, or I guess infuse is the best, infuse and entangle the soul with the DNA. That is perpetuated by this source energy to create life. The masculine and the feminine create the pieces, the parts, the sperm and the egg, and bring them together through intimacy, sexual acts. But it is the force, divine source energy that truly creates the force or energy necessary to infuse that soul with that physical form that is being created during that the act of the fertilization of the egg. Okay, so that is a sacred union. That is a sacred union of source energy with the material plane, as that soul is infused into that DNA, into that being. Okay, the Zeta Reticuli decided to remove the consciousness, the awareness, from the physical form and destroy the physical form. The collective psychosis is a result of separation, the separation from the physical form. Okay, the consciousness is breaking down itself and will return to divinity, the source of all creation. So the Zetas are trying to separate themselves from the divine, and I've talked about this in past videos, and trying to create their own version of divinity from this negative place, from this dark place, from a place of separation and control, okay, oppression. Because these energies want to stay on top. These are former Cabal energies, former humans who were at this time, at this place in time, at the top of the food chain. Let's just say that. They're at the top of the food chain. They're at the top of the pyramid, okay? They are the corporations. And they want to stay there. They want to stay on top. So they left Earth, they created this breakaway civilization, and now they want to maintain that control across the universe. And so they're trying to bring other energies into their collective and create this force of energy to try to kind of usurp the divine. And instead of moving into balance, they want to move and maintain that control separation. I don't want to say negativity, but they want to maintain separation. Okay? And instead of, when we unify with divinity, with source, we are truly unified. Everything is melded together. There is no separation. Okay? And although the Zeta Reticuli live within this, their consciousnesses live within this storage system, and you can say, oh, all the energy's together in the storage system, but think of it like a puzzle, okay? Every consciousness has its own signature and is separate from the other consciousness. So it's almost like, it is like a puzzle. So you can have a puzzle with 500 pieces and all the pieces are laying all over the place and you don't know what that puzzle is, okay, because there's so many different pieces. But then once you put the puzzle together, you do have a beautiful puzzle with an image on it, but each piece, you can still see the lines. It's not a fluid, beautiful drawing like a Picasso, you know, or a Renoir or something like that, where everything just flows together. It's an image with a bunch of lines separating all the pieces, okay? And that's how that collective is. It's not truly a collective. It's just a bunch of pieces that have been put next to each other and aligned in a very orderly manner, okay? When we unify with source energy, we are truly unified as one consciousness, okay? We are not separate like that, like this. We are unified. The Zeta Reticuli are not unified within that housing system or outside of that housing system. Their collective consciousness isn't unified. They're just separate pieces, all put, lined in an order, okay? All aligned in order, okay? So they have 3, I guess, mostly successful timelines, okay? And they're trying to manifest one of those timelines into reality so that they can usurp the divine and take over the universe, okay? That's the delusion, okay, of separation. Separation can delude itself to that extent, okay? And so the only successful timeline within the Zeta Reticuli collective is the return to the source, to the void, okay? So they don't want to return to the void, though. They don't want to return to source, because then they will have to be reborn and all their memories will be erased, like all of us, and we'll have to be born into new lives and work towards balance again. But they don't want that. They want to maintain control. They want to stay on top, okay? And so the ones on top, what's the good of staying on top if there's nobody beneath you to control and oppress, right? So they have all the people that they took with them from this earth, that they probably forced to go with them to this whatever new planet, and now they're trying to bring more different worlds into fight for their agenda, or they're trying to convince people that their beliefs are true beliefs, and that they will, and the best thing they can do is they will protect you and keep you safe if you come into our reality, okay? And so they're trying to recruit as many energies and worlds as they can into their agenda, because they're hoping to create constructive interference to build that force of energy that will move their reality into dominance, okay? And so even though my notes don't have all that information, I think that's important to understand as I talk about these things, because it seems like it might be kind of fragmented if I just read the notes that are here. So the truth is, so the last thing I said was the only successful timeline, when we're talking about those 3 timelines that they're trying to manifest into reality, one of the 3. The only successful timeline within the Zeta Reticuli collective is the return to the source, the void. The truth is they have already returned to the void. The idea or belief of separation distorts their reality. The idea or belief of separation distorts their reality, the truth, and leads them astray. Leads them to believe that there is some kind of existence separate or outside of the source. That idea is a delusion. All energy is source energy, and all energy reconciles itself in the void. There is no separation. Okay, separation is a delusion. We are all unified in the source energy. We are just living these realities in this moment so that this source energy can see itself from a different perspective, that it can see what it could possibly be, this Zeta Reticuli is something that it could potentially or possibly be. But it's not separate from the source. It must return to the source. And so even though they're trying to create this reality within this housing system of their collective, their consciousnesses are breaking down, and that's what's creating their collective psychosis. Their collective psychosis is a result of removing their consciousness from the physical form. And since they've done that, now their consciousnesses are breaking down, and they will dissipate like I keep on seeing this image like pixels just breaking up and falling away. Like an image, all the pixels break up and just fall away. That's what I'm seeing when I see their consciousness. It's just all the pieces are breaking up and they're falling away, and eventually there'll be like pieces of dust or leaves in the wind, and that wind or breeze, whatever, will return that energy back to source. Okay, that's what I keep seeing. This idea that they have is a delusion. It will never come to pass, because we are all unified in this source energy. These are just reflections of its idea of what it could possibly be. We are living that out. We are part of this source energy. And people are so afraid to return because they are afraid they'll lose sight of themselves. And that's the ego. That's the idea of separation. Because the source energy that we are all part of is the most beautiful thing that we can even fathom. But we can't conceive of it in these physical forms. And that's what this stage of evolution is about. Trust. Connecting and trusting in that source energy. Connecting and trusting in that connection. Connecting and trusting in the messages that you receive. That's what this place is about. And so as soon as I said that, I had this message come in, and I guess I'll just say it, that I'm always having people try to influence me and redirect me and move me and manipulate me into doing what they want me to do and believing what they want me to believe, and saying I have your best interest at heart. I'm looking out for you. Like the guy that tried to get me into stripping and porn. He just tried to oh, here, have this, have that. Oh yeah, and you can make this much money. This would be such a great opportunity for you. Like what he said, it's just in my mind made no sense. But nevertheless, he was just trying to sell me his belief that this was something that would be good for me. But and I've had people on many different levels, not just that, try to convince me that they have my best interest at heart and try to manipulate me. And so when I was just finishing up that section of what I was saying, I saw these men coming in suits and very official, trying to come in and guide me and direct me. And I think there is a time and a place to open up to guidance in areas that I don't have a lot of experience. But when it comes to the greater good and transitioning Mother Earth into balance, that I only tap into the source energy and I ask for divine guidance, and I never deviate from that. So whatever some person believes is the best will be in the best interest of me, or the best interest of this planet, or the best interest of society or the people. I believe everybody has a right to express their opinion, but nothing overrides divine guidance. Nothing overrides the divine, the source. and I work diligently to maintain clear-centered and balanced energy. I'm very good at setting up protective fields. And I talked about a person in an old video, and that, sorry, I should have eaten, I guess, before I started this video. That I saw putting up all these protective fields around me, so I know that there are other paladins who see things the same way, as far as connecting to source energy and asking for divine guidance, and they are listening to their divine guidance. I know that I maintain the necessary clarity and balance to connect with the divine and trust those messages that come through. Always, 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 always. So, excuse me. So regardless of what other people believe, it's always the source energy that will guide me on my path and purpose, and what I am to do and how I am to do it. Always. So on 10/29, Gladiolus, I got another message, and I had these cards. They're like oracle cards. They're called goddesses knowledge cards, and I love them. Oh, and they have so just a second. So I was just felt like I should pull a card, and this Seddon card comes up often. I'll do a picture-in-picture. And Sedna, and I have in quotes the one down there, was once a beautiful Eskimo woman who lived with her father. And so none of the suitors appealed to her, and she didn't want to get married. And then from across the sea, this bird came and promised to take her back to his home of luxury. And so when she got there, she wasn't happy, she was deceived, and she begged her father to come back and get her. And when he came back on a boat and got her. When they were going back home, the seas got really treacherous, and she fell overboard, and she was trying to get back on, and her father cut off her fingers so he could survive, and she fell to the into the ocean. And let's see, Sedna descended to Adlivum, Adlivum, the Eskimo underworld, where she now rules the dead. To ensure that she will continue to send food to hunters, shamans descend to visit her, comb her hair, and massage her mutilated hands. Sedna is a reminder of the nourishing gifts that are to be found deep in the dark, cold places that we most fear. So when her father cut off her fingers, they turned into whales, seals, and all the mammals in the ocean. Okay, and as I was reading that card and just sitting with what the information was, I focused on from the depths, and Gladiolus and her people came in. And so I guess I should read that part again. Sedna is a reminder of the nourishing gifts that are to be found deep in the dark, cold places that we most fear. Fear is a construct. It does not exist. The only thing that exists is love. As we move closer to our divine roots, we move to understand and reconcile this truth. Gladiolus and her people, as well as other beings of love and light, are represented in this sentiment. They are a gift to humanity and this world during this transition. And so as I was having that vision underwater, there was intense energy moving through me, and there was intense activity in the ocean, and Gladiolus and her people are the stewards of the ocean. They are the stewards of the energies and the beings that are in the ocean, because there are many beings from many other worlds in the ocean. And so she is kind of like this overseer and protector and guide and mother figure to all these different energies. And then, but right now, she is kind of running the show, and there is some type of activity happening beneath the ocean, beneath the water, that is very intense. There is an incredible amount of movement, an incredible amount of movement of water, but also flow of energy. And the flow of energy and the water are essentially the same. So water is like a physical manifestation of energy, right? The flow of energy. We can visually see how the flow of energy works, the ebb and flow, okay? And Gladiolus and her people can control that ebb and flow through their consciousness. And so they are doing something. And I just heard stirring the pot. But I don't think they're stirring the pot in a negative way. I think they're moving because this is a massive time of transcendence between, or change between these two solar and lunar eclipses. And so that came in. And then yesterday, or this morning, I had more information come in. And I think if you watch the video from beginning to end, you can see how everything comes together. But also, this past week, I got a message that I talked about in my other videos. Like, I would have all these visions that would happen over a year or 2 years, and they'd be in isolation. And I could see the vision, I see the message, but I didn't. But it wasn't always completely clear. Like the Fibonacci spirals, it took me like 6 months to figure out that that was a Fibonacci spiral, because it looked like a tornado. And the Vesica Pisces, I saw, these are physically manifested, by the way, in my room. Like for minutes, not just like a flash, for minutes. And I saw it, it looked like a Venn diagram. I couldn't remember Venn diagram though. I'm like, what are those spinning rings? Because they were spinning this way, and so that the middle where they cross was very pronounced. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. What is this? It took me 6 months to figure out it was Vesica Pisces. So I had all these many visions, but over the years I've been able to reconcile all those visions and see the bigger picture. And so I feel like right now my role, and the message that came in was, you share your visions as we go, okay? And then over time, you will show them how to reconcile all the pieces into one big picture or one big vision, okay? Because for me, I had all those little visions that came in that made one big vision or one big message that I heard and moved forward from, right? It told me something. It indicated something as far as my path and purpose. And there are different phases and different stages, okay, that I go through, that I have gone through. And so what the message came this week really strong was that now I shared these pieces, these visions I get, these parts, and then we move through them together, and then I reconcile those, and then I show you how all those little pieces will be reconciled in the future as they're reconciled, right? Because I'm not going to get the big picture until it's time for me to get the big picture, Okay, so it's really important to share all the visions and the experiences that I'm having so I can show you how to reconcile those messages into a greater message which directs us on our path and purpose, because this is a collective, these are collective messages for everybody to direct us on our path and purpose. I have my own little messages for me that help direct me on my path and purpose, and then I also have the bigger messages for the collective that are for the whole to help us on our path and purpose, okay, as a collective. So this morning this message came in. It was really upsetting. I hope there's a lot of tears all morning. A lot of tears all morning. But I'm just going to read it. The message came in. I am the creator. From me come all things, and to me they must return. I exist to maintain the balance. That is my stewardship. Divine Feminine creates, the Divine Masculine protects creation, the Creator. One does not exist without the other. They are unified, one eternally. From this place you are leaving. The distorted reality of separation has led you to believe these concepts are different, but truthfully they are one, bound together eternally, found within all things. Though from the material plane it is the physical form that creates life, the masculine form protects that life. Divine Feminine creates and builds social emotional structure. Divine Masculine maintains, fortifies, and protects those structures. I exist to maintain the balance. I have many protectors from the physical and ethereal. The balance must be shielded from distortion. Maintain clear-centered, balanced energy. Be a paladin of love and light. The meek have inherited the earth. The information I provide can be simply understood with the understanding of the concept of unity. But this cannot be simply understood from a place of separation. So let me explain that again. The information that I've just provided can very simply be understood with understanding the concept of unity. So if you truly understand unity and what it implies on all levels, top to bottom, front to back, left to right, then really there's nothing else to really explain. But from this place of separation, it's not that simple. Okay? Okay. So basically the information that I provide can be understood if you understand unity. But from this place of separation, it's very difficult to understand unity, what unity means by just a word, right? Because unity means many things on many levels. Okay? And so there must be this larger discussion of all these ideas and concepts and constructs, okay? So that is why there is so much information being provided, such as time as a construct, all time is now, divine masculine, divine feminine, beings of love and light, or ETs, extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, whatever you want to call them, inner earth versus surface beings, negative polarity versus positive polarity, okay, etc. In order for this divine source energy to see itself from a different perspective or multiple perspectives, it must break itself up or down, however you want to look at it, to its smallest parts. Examine those parts to see what they are and how they function. Then reunify these parts and reconcile itself. And so then so I've said that many times before, but that's what this existence is. It's the divine source energy breaking itself up and looking at itself. What can I possibly be? From the smallest particle of energy to the largest mountain or idea or concept, whatever. And anything of this universe that has been created is a reflection of the divine, whether it is a physical thing, an idea, or something from the consciousness, right? All these things are pieces of the source energy, and actually they are the source energy, okay? The source energy is all things. It creates all things. It embodies all things. It is all things, right? And so then I wrote, I can feel and see the differences, the divergence is clear. So whenever I walk down the street, I can see the divergence. I can see what's happening, where people are going. I mean, as far as transcendence or moving to another world. So the last video I did, it's titled Divine Gateway. The Divine Gateway is a shift in thought, ideology, paradigms. It is not a literal gateway that someone or something can sneak through. You must do the work. The transition is happening now. Whatever is occurring around you is part of the process of transition based on where you are on your personal journey. Everything is as it should be. So then I was talking about in the past I've talked about the Knights of Templar, and then this idea of the samurai came up. And then very clearly came through, they are protected by their codes karmically, okay? So the samurai has a very high code of ethic, and I don't know a lot about the samurai, but I do remember learning about like harikari or harikari. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I probably messed it up, but you know what I'm talking about. It's the ritual suicide if they dishonor themselves or their people or their family or whatever. And what that is so they have a code of conduct that they live by, and if they feel they violated that code of conduct, they do the ritual suicide, and they end their karmic cycle. It's not like someone who's distressed or feels whatever someone goes through who's committing suicide, however they commit suicide. It's different. This is someone who has lived a very conscious life with a very clear path and purpose. And if they feel like they've violated whatever that code is that they chose to live by, then they end their lives in order to start another karmic cycle, move into another life so they can work again to perfect their discipline in honoring that code, okay? And so that's why I said, I was talking about the Knights of Templar, I was talking about the Special Forces, the men in the Special Forces, and now I'll add the samurai. When you connect to the heart, connect to the divine, ask for guidance, and know that this is part of your path and purpose, whatever that divine source energy asks of you is from a place of balance, protects you karmically. So it's very important to make sure you drop into your heart. Because, and I say that now because I feel like we may move into a place where there may be potentially some violence at some point somewhere. And I know that there's stuff happening on other parts of the planet, but I think those are not divergence, distractions from what's going on, whether it's for political purposes, whether it's for social purposes, for these social agendas, political agendas, whatever. I feel like those are distractions. And I do feel there is something happening now that we can't see that may bubble to the surface where we can see it. And so anybody who's asked to engage in that, it's really important to tap into your heart, connect to that source energy, and know what's being asked of you from that source energy, because that protects you karmically. So if you're working from the negative, it doesn't really matter, because they're working from ego, which is an illusion, and separation, which is an illusion. If you're connecting to that source energy, you're connecting to from a place of balance, you're connecting to the whole, and you're moving from that place of the greater good, working towards the greater good. Okay? So then again, this message came through. I am here to maintain the balance. I must experience this world in all its beauty and trauma to understand it on its terms. It is only from this place of experience that I can move Mother Earth back to center and maintain that balanced state. If I did not experience this world on its terms prior to embarking on my path and purpose, I would have been driving forward from the ego, from my perception of balance, and thus attempting to move Mother Earth from my ego's perception of balance. It was important to live and experience this world on its terms and discover or rediscover the tools that work best for me in maintaining clear, centered, and balanced energy, as well as the knowledge and tools necessary to protect my energy in order to drive forward from experience, wisdom, and unity in this endeavor. And so I'm just gonna I had pulled these cards again later, and I pulled this is Themis, this is Mary, and this is the triple goddess. Okay, and these are really, I found to be very important. I was like, what are the chances? This was in the middle, I cut the deck. This was on the bottom, and this was on the top. Themis is one of the oldest and most revered of the Greek goddesses, the daughter of Gaia, the earth goddess. Themis is the mother of the three fates who determine the destiny of all mortals and gods. Shown here as the giver of dreams, she once was consulted at Delphi as the bestower of oracles. Themis is prophecy incarnate. Her oracles derive from her sense of order and connection to nature. In later Greek mythology, transferred to Mount Olympus, she personified the social order of law and custom, a reminder that social order is ultimately dependent on the natural order of the earth. Themis is a grounded earthly goddess who is also comfortable moving through the shifting mantic world of dreams. She is deep wisdom, familiar with both the depths of earth and the heights of sky, a guide into soul. Mary is most closely allied to the Middle Eastern moon goddess. Like them, she is a creator goddess, associated with both the heavens and the sea or other waters. She is worshipped by Catholics as the moon of the church and as Stella Maris, the star of the sea. The moment of the Annunciation, when she confronts the truth of her own great creativity, symbolized by Gabriel, the angel of truth, made from fire. This is the moment at which she accepts the imperative to create, the need to bring forth life from the very center of her being. Mary is the goddess as womb, as source of all life and of regeneration. She is the mother of mercy and infinite compassion, the one we turn to in times of need. She is a reminder that compassion toward oneself fosters creativity. She reminds us to be gentle with ourselves. Then the triple goddess. The triple goddess, the original trinity, symbolizes the three faces of the Greek goddess and is the earliest representation of her division into multiplicity. The goddess with three faces is a universal motif found worldwide. The triple goddess is intimately associated with the changing phases of the moon. Just as the moon transforms from one phase to another, the great goddess moves among her many roles. Her three faces are usually Virgin, Mother, and Crone. Virgin representing the strong, self-defined goddess. Mother representing the nurturing goddess as source of all nourishment. The Crone representing the goddess of death and transformation. This symbolism embraces the role of the goddess in all phases of existence, from birth through death and rebirth. From birth through death to rebirth. The triple goddess reminds us of our sacredness, regardless of our age or function in life. She reminds us that despite her many forms, there is one goddess, always present and always sacred. So, three things. We have Mother Earth, we have prophecy and fate in this card. Dream, visions, that is the beginning where I started connecting with that higher self, was through dreams. So I had some psychic experiences, but I first started writing down my dreams and started making the connections before I took that Psychic 1 class, which was really just a meditation class. And then that helped me bridge my dreams and my consciousness and connecting from the awakened state. Then we have Mary, who is being raised Catholic. To have her spoken about in this way was very intriguing for me, from a different perspective. But most important, the creator of life and regeneration, compassionate and creative, and be gentle with ourselves. Those are really important things that came out, things that we aren't today to ourselves. These things will bring us back to the heart, bring us back to the heart center and connecting to source energy. Then the triple goddess, maiden, mother, and crone. Okay, that whole transition. But I had said in a previous video that the crone in me had come out. So that indicates to me death and rebirth. So we are going through a massive death and rebirth. Whether it can be physical and it can be spiritual. I think it's going to be all of the above. And so we just need to be aware of that and be ready for that. So when I was clearing my energy in the beginning, I saw the vision I had. It was super emotional. It was all white, and then a lily coming up and opening up, and then I came out of the top of the lily. And that would go back to Mary, who is represented, Virgin Mary in Catholicism is represented by the, the light is represented by the lily flower. Did I say Mary? I'm not sure. I started talking. I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get the picture. I want to make sure I said Mary is represented by the lily flower, not the lily was represented by the lily flower. And so I just kind of drew it really quick when it's not a big deal. I just kind of sketched something really fast. And what the words that came to me were lily, Mary, virgin, creation, renewal, a voice of rejuvenation. A voice and rejuvenation. And these cards I was looking at last night. So this is separate. This isn't something that came this morning. I mean, these cards weren't something I was playing with this morning. And so I'm just going to sit here for a minute and see if anything else comes before I end. And so this even came in the beginning, but as that flower opened, and then I came out of the top, and then there's, I would say, Jesus is in the background, very large. So he's like the backdrop, like as if he's on a movie screen, but he's not. He's physically there, and he's just kind of throwing like petals, white petals though. I'm not sure what kind of flower. He's just throwing it over the lily, and he's throwing it over me, and this scene that I'm seeing. And then he's giving blessings. And he's moving away. And so I feel like this video is a little bit fragmented. I'm not sure. When I edit it, maybe I'll think something different. But I think I said in the middle of the video, I feel like it's time for me to start showing the fragmented nature of some of the messages that come through. They're not linear. I get a ton of messages throughout the week. I get a ton of messages throughout the year. And then there comes a point somewhere where that information is reconciled in my consciousness, and then it becomes a whole vision, a whole message, and it directs me in other ways. In 2016, I had massive messages that put me on this path. And right now, I'm having massive personal messages that are redirecting my path. But I think one of my very important roles is helping people to awaken and then learn how to listen to the messages, listen to the divine, learn the language of the universe. That's what I call the clairs, the language of the universe. Learn that language, learn how to translate those messages, and start moving forward on their path and purpose. And so I feel like this video today, maybe some other videos, may be fragmented because we're getting pieces of a whole that are meant to give us little baby steps to start moving forward on our path. And then once we start moving, taking those baby steps on our path, then we'll get greater visions or greater messages that help unify and show us a clearer vision of what we're meant to do and how we're going to do it. But if I knew when I was 20, if I knew when I was 30, if I knew when I was 40, or in 2016 what my path and purpose was, I think it would have been too overwhelming, and I probably would have hidden a hole. I probably would have found some place to be away from everybody forever. But because the messages came through slowly in ways that I can process and receive and accept, and then move forward, process, receive, and accept, move forward, it's helped me. And I think that's what we all need to do. That's what we're all asked to do, is take it as it comes, take what we can, and then drive forward from there. Okay? So I'm just going to clear my energy one more time and make sure there's nothing else. I don't feel like it, but I'm just going to do it anyway because I need to. And it's just gratitude. I'm just receiving gratitude in the form of hands. I'm seeing hands like this saying thank you. So that's it. Thank you.